Reader's Guide to Chaos presents Left Unread.
Hey guys, welcome to our podcast Left Unread. We are Reader's Guide to Chaos, a book club started by high school students. We read books together, we discuss our points of views, we have started a few initiatives trying to help students and other young adults learn or develop a love for reading. So I am Hiya. Why don't the rest of you introduce yourselves?
I'm Vama. I'm the co-founder along with Hiya. We started this club about, I'd say, 2 years ago. I love reading, but not as much as I used to.
Hi, I'm Shreeya. I joined Reader's Guide to Chaos. As because I used to love books. It was a phase. And it helped me regain my love for books. So I hope that does that for a lot of other people too.
Hi, I'm Diya. I'm the communications manager. Even though it's not my strong suit, I try to keep up with it. And reading always has been something non-fictional for me, something I can really believe in. So yeah, that's me.
Hi, I'm Moksha and I'm the head of IT. I don't really like reading, but sometimes occasionally, if a story is too gripping, I would read it, and I would probably prefer short stories over full-length novels.
Okay, so this podcast is going to be something that happens on a monthly basis, and we are all going to take turns hosting it. Today, our host is the lovely Moksha.
Hi, so today I'll be hosting the show, and um, a really recent thing that happened with every one of us was that we all went to a school trip, which was very fun, and we created so many memories. And I thought that it would be, perfect to take a look into the world of travel logs and memoirs and see how people travel and note their experiences down. And when we are reading it, we kind of live vicariously their experiences while we're reading it. So, starting off with a light question for everyone, what's like your worst packing disaster?
Packing disaster. I think there are many. Like at one point, we were traveling somewhere and we made the mistake of not checking the weather app. So we're like, oh, it's winter, but it's not going to be that cold. And it was really cold, like less than 10 degrees. And we didn't have jackets. So the first day we landed, we had to go to a shop and buy winter jackets because all of us were freezing. A recent disaster would be our trip to Gir, because I was under the impression that it was going to be really cold because everyone would be like, oh, it's going to be cold, blah, blah, blah. It was cold just during the safari. But when we were doing sort of manual labor or laborious work during the day, wearing the sweater just was like so painful. And it was just like daunting. Like, I'm like, why did I do this?
Very rightly put, we did do manual labor, a lot of it.
My most recent packing disaster was also on the gear trip. I had more clothes than space in my bag. So all the snacks that I had brought along were thankfully over. So I had to stuff it in. I had to sit on the damn bag and zip it.
I mean, who hasn't done that? Like, bags are meant to be sat upon and then closed, and then only you can close the chain, or else or else you're not actually packing the bag. You're just underfilling it.
You don't need a
Yes.
bigger bag. You need to sit on the bag.
Yes, that's exactly how.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, someone who speaks my language.
Moksha, you're one to say you literally had the most organized bag out of all of us.
Exactly. It was like the
I came to
smallest
your
bag
room for
ever.
I came to your room for like half an hour and I saw your entire area. I was like, where did her clothes go?
I mean, I have a very interesting incident as to why I'm so organized when I'm packing. is because there was this one trip where we went to Uti, and so it was during the summer months, and I thought, okay, it's summer, let's bring shorts. Little did I know, it was freezing cold, and it also rained, and I had brought like so many clothes. So my bag was like very small, clothes were so many, and plus I had a few snacks and like two water bottles, and somehow I managed everything inside to a point where the bag literally bursted. And so the seams where the chains are, it started unraveling. I was like, it's okay, it's manageable, it's only the last day, like I can, I can manage. Turns out when we were in the airport, and my bag is like this, all of my clothes can be seen from the outside. And so we had to call damage control. I was like, I need a bag. So he bought a bag in the airport. And since then, I, very meticulously pack everything. I, count the number of days that I have to go. Like, okay, 2 days, okay, these many clothes. 3 days, these many clothes. So that I don't overpack and I don't have to, call damage control for it.
Seams unripping reminds me of this time when I was like 3 and I had to go to someone's wedding and it was in Charlotte. So we had a whole like 12-hour plane ride over there. And imagine it like this, one bag was for Indian clothes for the wedding and one of them was regular clothes. The bag with the Indian clothes, what we did was we forgot to put a chain or like something to close it. Everything was on the conveyor belt. Every single thing. And on top of these clothes, achar. A thick layer of achar. That to the stinky kind. The worst packing disaster ever. But the best thing, our pajamas were all safe. Like what?
Like you're going to sleep cozy that night.
But packing for Indian clothes is like an entire new arena because right now Carsten's getting married. For I will have to pack now. But I've seen my mom travel, and when she has to go to weddings, like the clothes, they're so voluminous, and to fit them in a bag is so impossible. Then they're heavy. Then it is a task. It's not just like you can fold it and put it. Even folding it is like a new technique. Like those ghagras, especially the ones that have volume, and you're like, how do you fit this in? Like one ghagra will take an entire suitcase.
So, Diya, what was your packing disaster? I think that you travel a lot, so you would have a few.
Yeah, mine was a similar one, like just as Hiya said. But this is actually a packing disaster. It was more of a communication disaster, if you call it. So we went to US in 2015. So over there we had like a month's long trip. Like we went to Orlando, we went to San Diego, San Francisco, and everywhere. And then when we came back, we went with 7 bags, 7 people, 7 bags. We came back with 15 bags because of the shopping and everything we did. And we had to buy 2 bags on the airport because of my dad, because of the duty free shopping and everything. So we came to Ahmedabad airport. We were counting our luggage. And then we realized, oh, we only have 10 bags. Where are the other 5 bags? We do not have the other 5 bags. And then we contact the airport security and everyone. And then we get to know, oh, we did not, they ship the bags, like we did not get it through the baggage claim. In US and that was that, and those bags were my bags, my mom's bags, and my sister's bags, and I had 2 bags because of the shopping I did. So and they were very important to me. So my uncle, my father's friend, he's sort of my uncle, he had to ship them from US to here, which took almost 15 days. So all of my shopping, all of my clothes, toys, cosmetics, everything that you say was just ruined. And food, oh my god, the food was like it molded and everything. So that was a huge disaster. So like when we go, we pack extra foldable bags in our own luggage so that we don't have to buy 5, 6 bags extra and come. So yeah.
I know, like I remember when I was younger and we were just going for a shopping trip. So I was told to pack really lightly. So we had a large suitcase, and what it had was a smaller suitcase inside it. And the smaller suitcase had my dad's clothes, and I was like, okay.
Okay, there's no competition. Diya, you win. Like, no
Thank you.
competition. Okay, so moving on. This is an interesting one because there are a lot of movies and books that are based on trips. Like the one that I can say would be Dil Jata Hai or Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, which is about friends, traveling across the world and
I think
making
there's
more memories.
Hmm.
And so, a memory that you would like to turn into a book or a movie.
a memory that I would like to turn into a book or a movie. That requires thought.
Yeah, I have one. Okay, so I probably told this to everyone, like Shreeya, Hiya know this. So my dad is a travel freak, and I'm not kidding when I say a travel freak. He's literally a travel freak. So, and he likes to go on road trips. So he likes to go on long drives and everything. So on Sunday, we just were casually going on a long drive, the four of us, me, my mom, my father, and my sister. And suddenly he gets the idea of going to Mount Abu from nowhere. And we were like, he's joking, it's not really gonna happen. And it really did happen. So we left our house at 1, like in the afternoon, no clothes, no nothing, just some snacks to eat in the car and water. And by the time it was 6, we were at the top of the hill in Mount Abu. And then over there we did shopping in the market and everything just casually. And then after we finished all that, we sat in the car, and then dad's like, like, what will we do now? Like it's too late, we can't go home. I'm like, we have to go home, we have no clothes, we have nothing, what will we do? And then he's like, we'll stay at a hotel. I'm like, where will you get a nice hotel and everything? And he's like, I have friends, I have connections, I'm social. So that was like sort of like a taunt, but I'm like, okay, you're social, you have friends, okay, good. And then he booked Leela, the hotel. He booked us 2 rooms in Leela. And I asked him, why Leela? And he's like, it's a nice hotel. I'm like, I know it's a nice hotel, but it's in Udaipur and we're in Mount Abu. So what are we gonna do? So he's like, I'll drive you to Udaipur. I'm like, okay. Like, are you kidding? Like, we're already in Mount Abu. What are you doing? And then we go to Leela, and in Leela you have a boat ride. You just can't go there by road. So at 12 midnight, we take a boat ride to Leela. We stay there because we don't have any clothes, nothing. We are roaming in our bathrobes. Seriously, in our bathrobes in the hotel. We're eating food in our room. And like the next day, we just come home like in the afternoon or something. But after that, I have never, I repeat, never went on a long drive trip with my father. But like, I would definitely like to turn it into a book because it was epic. So yeah, that is.
I
See,
would
now
love
I
to
feel
read that.
See, now I feel bad going after because I'm like, I can't top that.
Yeah, I can't compete with that. I'm not
Exactly.
Okay,
answering this.
the first time you're in the
Exactly.
podcast and you're winning every question.
And
You're just making everyone jealous right now because I have,
Seriously.
such tendencies. Like if you're going, let's say I frequently travel to Rajkot, so I would see the sign, and if I'm going to, let's say, my uncle's place, so we would have the Rajkot, sign, like certain kilometers Rajkot, and I
Yeah.
would just tell my dad, let's go to Rajkot. I mean, I always tell it as a joke, but this was this was like to the
I
next
know
level.
because I don't like traveling that much, and that
It's
was
like,
like
okay, chalo, yes,
huh.
let's go.
And that was like a weekday. So we went on Sunday. So on Monday I could not go to school. Like I had a project to finish, like a presentation or something, and all 3 of us were angry at my father, and he was like, this is not fair. All the 3 of you are girls. I'm, like the alone single man standing. So like, and then we're like, what you have done is not fair. So what we are doing is very fair. So that is how we, you know.
I guess for me, it would be, I have like 2 options, but both of them were with family. So it was quite memorable. Family as an extended family. So a few years back, I had gone on a ski trip. It was basically like a ski camp called Les Alps with my cousin Nishi. And she was having homesickness. and there you get like your phone for only a limited period of time, like say an hour a day tops. Like if you come home late, if you come to the resort late, if you haven't showered, it will be less than that. So she was already not feeling well, and so that would add to the pressure, because it's always good when you have your phone for such a long time, you always have the ability to call somebody, to call your family. So it's like they are there even though they are not there. So that was that. So like everyone remembered her from that because of that experience. So the next year I went again, and this time I went alone. So like people would not recognize me. And after a point, I was like, I was here. I was talking to everybody about this issue. And then I had to be like, I'm her sister. And they were like, oh, you, okay. And then I'm like, wow, this is great. So she would be the, I guess, protagonist, and I guess I was just there. I thought it was quite funny because she was homesick, she got so many perks which I didn't, and I was jealous. I was like, I should also cry.
This would make for a very good YA novel.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, I don't have a lot of travel incidents, but the ones that I do, was we were on a school trip, and school trips are generally very weird in the sense that you would be homesick, you would make new memories, you would also have like, weird hangover of very sugary drinks that you would buy, in the road, and you would just have like a big, mixture of all of those in your brain. And so we were returning from the trip, and every girl from our grade was in that bus. Only like two boys were in the bus. And so as 12-year-olds, we were just, so curious of knowing each other and, knowing dirty little secrets and everything. So those 3 hours in the bus when we were returning from Kutch, yes, so we had gone to Kutch and we were returning from there. And so those 3 hours, we got like chips packets. And so it was a beautiful idea that someone suggested that let's play Never Have I Ever. And if you have, done the thing, you would eat the chip. Turns out almost everyone completed their chips packets in like 10 questions. And after that, we had nothing to eat. And so the more we discovered about each other, the more we got close. And it is very, I would say, unconventional in especially girls to bond. Like everyone from the grade, bar none, everyone was playing the game, no matter it was an introvert who has never talked to anyone or like the most extroverted girl who has like so many friends. And seeing everybody in like their true colors just bonded everyone so much that if this was turned into, let's say, a book, it would have pretty dark and weird secrets. Actually, not that dark, but weird. Because as 12-year-olds, you don't do a lot of things, but you feel like you're very adventurous while you're doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And so this little experience was so special to me because I have always been divided into a lot of groups. Like, so this little experience, clubbed all of them together. And like later when we came back and like the semester after that, we would never stop talking about this till date. Like even if I meet any of the girls from that group, I would just always talk about this. And it's like very like, it's one of those memories that you can never forget because you would, know that person so well as a 12-year-old kid. And so it was very fun.
It was interesting. Like it's so like unconventional, a group of girls bonding over Never Have I Ever while eating bags of chips. Like when
I
you,
would definitely read that book.
yeah,
Okay, so what about Vama? Any fun experiences to share?
I have many pleasant experiences, but nothing extraordinary that stands out. I guess I can't compete with any of you guys. But there was one not so pleasant trip where I puked in the middle of the road. But I would love to read that book.
Okay, Shreeya, I hear that you go to frequent US trips. So any fun anecdotes from there?
I mean, US trips, there are way too many of them. But if I had to make one into a book, it'd be the most recent one. Like this time when we went, I had to stay up from 10:30 at night to 10:30 in the morning, and I'd sleep all day. And I bet that would make for an amazing book because I've had so many incidents. Like once, I think in math class, I fell asleep, and our math teacher texted me, "Shreeya, are you okay? Should I call your mom for help? Are you unconscious? If you are just sleeping, please text thumbs up. If you are not, please let me know." And then she called my best friend just to ask, "Can you call her and see whether she's okay or not?" So there's that one. Then once, I think there was a time when my cousin kind of joined my math class, and he was very curious about it. So he was like, "Ooh, why do you have letters on your math class? Why is there an X and a Y and a Z?" And I think my math teacher got very mad at me for that. So I think that could make for a pretty good
I
one.
mean, those are the innocent days when there were no letters in our math
I know.
assignments.
Now
I
it's just
loved
all
those days.
letters. I'm like, where are the numbers?
I want numbers. But Diary of Shreeya would be very fun to read.
Yeah, and I remember you would like post on social medias your like wake ups, and that was also like very entertaining. That in itself, so I wonder this whole experience holistically would be like very entertaining to read about.
I mean, every single day I'd find something in my aunt's kitchen that would be really good to eat. So I put that on my spam story. Okay, tonight's midnight snack: cinnamon rolls from Costco.
Okay, so just two more questions. We often read books and have our own interpretations of a place. So, um, has it ever been that you have read about a certain place and later you visit? Was it underwhelming or overwhelming when you thought or imagined this is how a place would look like?
I don't have like a distinct example of that, but I could see how that happens. Like you often see in movies, books. Paris is often something that is very, glamorized and like shown as this perfect city. But like if you actually travel like smaller areas of the town, it's not always that developed. It's just the tourist area. Or even like I remember my French teacher lived in Paris for a while. So we brought up this topic and he was like, yes, to a certain extent, that image does hold true. But where like the actual locals live is not that full of glamour. Of course, it's a beautiful city. It is full of architecture, history. But I do think that oftentimes they, you get blindsided by the glamour and things you see or read in books or movies.
Okay, a very similar experience I had was when I visited Goa. And so Goa is romanticized as, this ultimate place that you can go. If you're an Indian, you should go there. And like every trip that you plan must be in Goa. And so me and my family went there for like a small summer vacation. And the experience was so underwhelming only because I only enjoyed the beach part. After that, I just slept because visiting churches, okay, it's fun, but that's it. Like, there are not a lot of activities that you can do as a kid in Goa. So the experience was just so underwhelming. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have gone. I should have gone to a better place. And to the contrary, I went to Diu and Daman, which also has beaches and everything else. But that wasn't that underwhelming, only because I had some activities to do there. Goa was just so like filled with people that I myself had anxiety. I was like, too many people. Like I can't breathe here.
But I think with that, the another thing is the books and movies also build up your expectations and, sort of may create this unrealistic standard or image that you have. So for Dew and Daman, you didn't have any context. So it's very difficult to be underwhelmed.
I mean, you go with zero expectations because it's not romanticized in the way that Goa is. And, there are just some places that have just so much, media value to it. Like one of the examples I would say was Dil Dhadakne Do, where they had a Europe cruise. And so
Yeah.
a Europe cruise is just so romanticized. It's so like shown in media. It's portrayed in media in such a way that, you have to be, having such lifestyles to go to these cruises, and you should have these kind of clothes and visit these kind of places. But bottom line is, whenever you go to a place, whenever you visit a place, you should just have fun.
True. And not just with books and movies. I feel like media at large sometimes just shows you one side. Like even in social media, you're putting up the best front. So you may feel sort of like you are missing out and you're not having the entire experience. But that may not necessarily be the case. Like Moksha said, you just have to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Like, I didn't go with any hopes or expectations. I think I was 9 or something. And the best time I had in Thailand was while I was paragliding. I felt like I was in heaven, just like soaring through the air. And I told them not to dip me in water, but they didn't listen. And I was like, oh my God, I'm drowning. And I was like, but it was so fun. I would not replace this experience ever.
Okay, so moving on to the last question of the day. Um, does imaginary travel count?
It's of course.
Of course.
It does.
So you'll
Definitely.
have to give me more descriptive answers, because of course it does. You would be traveling into, an adventurous land. For example, if I give an example, I would say Alice in the Wonderland, where I was transported into this beautiful, magical world where, I felt like I was Alice, because you have such vivid thoughts at that age. I was probably 9 or 10 when I read like the abbreviated version of it that was issued to me by the library, and I felt like I was Alice, and I was living, those mystery quests and little things, and it was very, fun to read. And so that's the only, I would say, imaginary travel I've had.
So for me, it would be like the earliest book I remember reading and being fond of is Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and a bunch of other Roald Dahl books. But I can't say that I've been engrossed by them so much that I created a role or like a complete journey for me inside that. I'm sure I have, but not to the extent as I did when I was reading Harry Potter. That was like the first book I was like, sort of very engrossed by. I was by Matilda and other Roald Dahl books too. But with Harry Potter, it's just such a huge universe that the scope of imagination and creation is endless. So I had created this another character that was hanging out with Harry, and how she, being me, would like, act differently and sort of, and I could relate a lot to Hermione, which is basically saying that I am a nerd on many levels, but I could. So that was something I was very fond of. Like, when I'd be bored and when you'd be just like, when I'd be idly lying with my thoughts, I'd be thinking about that. And sometimes like I'll still have dreams about it, of the stories I created. Now I don't wish to like put the stories upon you, but that's why I also get like fan fiction. I feel like this is my journey, but sometimes reading other people's journey or imagination in a certain fantasy land or book is like very interesting because it gives you a fresh take on it. So I do think it being like a travel journey is valid.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this may seem a bit odd, but when I read Pride and Prejudice, I guess a year ago or so, I had this very distinct image in my mind of what like 18th or 19th century England would be, and not like London, none of the main cities, but just like a small town and how the life would be. And I think it was solidified after watching the movie.
So for me, it would be the city of Atlantis. So for me, after I read the book Atlantis, after I saw the movie on Atlantis, I had created my own imaginary world, if you can say, of how it would be and how I would discover Atlantis, and how it would be like the discovery of the a lifetime and everything. So like that was really, because Atlantis is a city of magic where they live underwater and then they can breathe water, talk in water. So like that created a whole new world for me. So yeah,
Very ambitious of you.
thank you.
I guess for me, it's been like there's this one book that I really love. It's called Cinder. And it's actually called, there's a whole series, it's called the Lunar Chronicles. And basically, it's based in the future where there is life on the moon. And I don't know, ever since the first book I finished, Cinder, I've always imagined what it would be like in the future. I mean, living on the moon is going to be very soon. I can only imagine what it would be like. And
Elon
I
Musk
think
is going to make that a reality very, very soon.
Elon Musk better read Cinder. I have expectations from him.
Okay, so that ends today's little podcast show of ours. And if you liked any of our content, please like, share, subscribe, and leave any
Follow us on
comments down
Instagram.
below. Leave any comments down below for any of these questions. If you had any responses, any fun anecdotes, we would love to read them. Any questions if you guys would like to ask, we would like to pick them up and ask them in our next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.